All right, hello and welcome to this training. As you can see from the title, what we're going to be covering today is how to be broke, unhealthy, lonely, and dumb. And as you can see from the overview, what we're going to be talking about more specifically is first financial ruin, then physical decline, relational isolation, mental dullness, inversion, the review, and then your action items for the day or the next few days. So without further ado, let's talk about how to basically achieve financial ruin. Now, if you want to stay broke for life, you basically need to ignore everything that leads to financial independence and freedom. This is going to be your ultimate formula for permanent struggle. So if you apply these principles, then you can basically guarantee yourself a future filled with stress, missed opportunities, and a feeling of being stuck while others pass you by. Now, most people never realize how easy it really is to self-sabotage their bank accounts, but you're about to learn how to really perfect the art. These are going to be the golden rules of poverty. Now, the first one would be denial. Every time you feel anxiety about money, try to bury it, numb it, let yourself believe things will work out. The universe provides, right? So lose yourself in the shallow end. New shoes, food delivery, that third streaming service that you really need. The money will trickle out, a leak that you should never ever bother to patch. And don't read your bills, stuff them in a drawer, and if a payment bounces, blame the bank. Now, bonus points if you actually call the bank and ruin the person's day. Say it's just a technicality and it's what grown-ups do. Then craft stories so convincing that even you start to believe them. The economy is broken, it's impossible to save, rich people cheat. The world has conspired against you since the day you were born. So how could you possibly get ahead? You're just a cog in the wheel, right? So when someone around you wins, make sure to judge them in your mind and talk about luck. Never ask about what they sacrificed or how they did it. They must have cheated anyway. So downplay their achievements and character traits so you can feel better. Make sure to never negotiate, never ask for a raise, never pitch your skills or services. Stay in your lane, head down, grumbling about how you're undervalued. Remember, selling yourself or anything for that matter is evil. Now, the easiest way to lose is to make sure no one sees you, so don't apply for that job. Don't send the invoice. Someone else will always eat first. And when opportunities come, make sure to look the other way. Then convince yourself you weren't ready. Tell yourself next time, as if there will be one, and wait for the perfect moment, always. Then spend money like you'll never die and never retire. Or actually convince yourself of the opposite. You're young and tomorrow might never come, so spend it all. Upgrade your phone before the old one is paid off. Buy more clothes, more vacations. You deserve a break too, right? So fill your apartment and life with things that fill the silence, but not the hole. See, click, and buy. Delay is for losers. Subscription renewals are just background noise, so forget that gym membership you haven't used since January. That's the price of aspirational living. The only action you should take is basically buying as quickly as possible. Never delaying, never questioning. Now, that is where the fun really starts. Rack up your credit card like it's Monopoly money. Minimum payments, that's just how you keep the game going. Compound interest is magic. It multiplies your pain with zero effort on your side. Now, let the numbers balloon. There's no coming back anyway, so you might as well splurge on that weekend getaway. And tell yourself that is just how modern life works. Everyone does it, and anyone who says otherwise is actually privileged. Become very inconsistent in everything you do. Blame it on the fact that you're actually still figuring things out. So start a business and then quit after 2 weeks because it got really hard. Then buy a course, a book, coaching, but never actually start because learning stops in college and university after all, and you've studied enough. It's time to take a break. Make sure to start saving and use the money to order food. Keep repeating because the pattern is the point. Create a hamster wheel with no exit. Now, make sure you also become dependent on other people. Lean on family, milk their generosity until the well runs dry. Let your parents bail you out once again, because it's their job, isn't it? You never asked to be born. If not on your family, make sure you lean on your friends. You're all in this together after all, right? So they have it figured out anyway, and they were probably dealt better cards as well. Any money they give you, you deserve. The guilt is just their problem. If you feel guilty, don't worry, just buy yourself some new clothes. You'll forget about it pretty quickly. And as long as someone else is holding the safety net, you never need to learn to walk the wire. So make sure you always have someone holding that safety net. Also, wait for a windfall. Buy lottery tickets. Fantasize about getting discovered, being rich overnight, or that one crypto coin that will solve everything just goes to the moon. The only work you should put in is praying that the world will change while you stay the same. Saving is also something you'll just start tomorrow, and earning more is next year's problem. As long as your screen glows, reality can wait. Play games, scroll TikTok, watch rich versus poor videos, and never actually do anything. Now, you should also fixate on what you can't have. Make lists of things to buy when it all works out, and measure your worth by your possessions. Spend energy chasing status and looking rich. Scroll through other people's highlight reels, hate them, and never ask how they built it. You don't want to know. You just want to look rich. Tell yourself that if you just had X, everything would be different. And when the emptiness creeps in, numb yourself with small treats. Food, drink, another Amazon purchase at 2 a.m. It's anesthesia. The hangover is part of the ritual. After the crash, tell yourself you actually deserved it. It's a hard day, it's a bad week, and life's too short to go without. Never break the cycle. Routine is its own drug. Also, surround yourself with other broke thinkers, people who see ambition as cringe, people who only post memes about being poor instead of learning how to actually change it. Stay in that group chat where everyone mocks hustle culture and shares screenshots of their cheap McDonald's order like it's a badge of honor. You'll never outgrow what you constantly reinforce, so keep being there. And if you do try to change, they'll pull you back down because you're crabs in a bucket. So don't worry, just keep being in the chat. Keep letting your broke uncle lecture you on what's actually realistic. He has been working a job he hates for the last 30 years, and now so will you. And you'll chase their approval instead of your own potential, and that's the goal. Keep blasting music that tells you to pop bottles, fly private, and spend racks at the club. And while there's nothing wrong with the music, more importantly, make sure you believe you should do those things, that this is what you want your life to be. And let every chorus hypnotize you into thinking that the Dom Perignon bottle in the club is your birthright. After all, you need it to feel good, right? So just do it. You're only young once. Just keep drowning in video games. Pretend you're conquering kingdoms while your real life actually collapses. Hit level 99 in a pixel world while your credit score free falls. And why build your life when you can buy a video game and build a castle from diamond blocks? Also, avoid budgets at all costs. Call them restrictive and boring, and keep every number in your head until you can't really remember where your money went. Shrug when your account is overdrawn, and get used to the feeling of dread when opening your banking app. Never look at your spending, never log your income, never calculate margins. Financial illiteracy is the oxygen of the broke, and that's what we're aiming to be here. So if you don't look at the numbers, maybe the panic will go away. And treat your finances like a casino. Maybe you'll win, maybe you'll lose. You never know. Let every paycheck disappear within a week. And let your finances become a foggy mess of stress, guilt, and forgotten subscriptions. Also, never set any financial goals. They're cringe after all. So float through life hoping something will come up. Let fate decide your bank balance and wait for a magical windfall instead of building wealth step by step, without ever really starting something and sticking with it because it's too slow anyway. Watch years pass without ever getting closer to your dreams, and tell yourself you have plenty of time, even as you waste another decade. Use busyness as an alibi for your inaction, and one day you'll realize you never even tried, but that's okay, because that was the goal. Always refuse to invest in yourself. Courses, coaching, books, skills, those are just luxuries, right? And you tell yourself it's too expensive, too risky, too much of a gamble on yourself. Yet, somehow, dropping a couple thousand on a new iPhone or blowing cash on an impulse Amazon delivery or Uber Eats feels cheap and necessary because it's self-care. Growth is overpriced. Stagnation is always a bargain. Any purchase that entertains you or helps you forget is actually worth it. Anything that might actually challenge you, stretch you, upgrade your life, create new opportunities, or force you to think and grow, that's clearly a scam. In fact, the only thing that's not a scam is the people who call everything else a scam. Never spend $100 on a few books that might actually change you, but when it comes to spending twice that on a single night out that leaves you emptier in every regard, don't even blink. That's what's called balance. Your priorities should be set to self-sabotage by default. So stay mentally allergic to abundance, believe you're just one of those people who could never get ahead, and anyone who thinks otherwise is actually just wishful, will never make it, or is clearly crazy. Set ceilings for yourself and never actually question them. Set ceilings for others, and when they break through, call them privileged or lucky. The excuse doesn't really matter, just make one up. Repeat your parents' and teachers' beliefs about money, and repeat them to everyone you know. Bring your circle down with you. Then say, I'm just not good with money, and never actually challenge it. Let jealousy of the wealthy turn into bitterness. They're lucky, privileged, evil lizards after all. So criticize anyone more successful than you, then scroll TikTok for hours. And get lost in fantasy instead of really facing your finances. Make up conspiracies and waste your life trying to prove them, rather than proving yourself you could become someone great too. Now, when reality finally slaps you awake, freak out. Sell what little you have for pennies. Call family and friends for favors. Rack up more debt on your credit card. And don't forget to blame the system. That's an important part. Blame the politicians, blame the system, blame your parents and your upbringing. Never blame yourself. Then repeat the cycle again. You wanted to avoid pain, so you built a life around that one idea. Now, pain is all you have. The bills keep coming, the calls get louder, the world closes in. The worst part, you did it so slowly you can't even remember when you made the first cut. You think it's just money, you tell yourself you're not materialistic, that poverty is a badge of honor. But it's not just the money. It's time, freedom, peace, and choices. It's everything you could have been, lost in the fog of self-deception. But money is only one part of starvation. The damage spreads. The emptiness follows you into every corner of your life, and what starts in your wallet spreads into your body, your relationships, and your mind. Next comes the physical decay. Let's completely destroy our health. So, physical decline. Staying unhealthy isn't just really a series of mistakes, it's a complete way of living. Now, most people underestimate how many little choices it takes to really ruin your body and guarantee chronic fatigue, low energy, and a pile of symptoms you blame on bad genetics. Now, perpetual decline is a lifestyle, not a coincidence. So, if you want to remain physically stuck and miserable, this is the masterclass. First, make sitting your default state. Every hour spent moving is a wasted hour you could spend on the couch. Let comfort dictate your movement. If it feels easy, make sure to do a lot more of it. And if it's even slightly uncomfortable, avoid it at all costs. Say you're too tired or too busy to walk, stretch, or move, and repeat this until your body forgets how to move at all. Call people that go to the gym meatheads and never actually lift a weight yourself. Tell yourself you earned a rest after a day of staring at screens, and lose yourself in endless hours of TV, games, and scrolling, and let entire evenings disappear in a blur of Netflix autoplay. Dive deep into fake worlds while your real body rusts. Eat for pleasure and not for health. Food is comfort after all, not fuel. So every craving is a command that you need to obey. Make processed snacks and take out your main food groups and get hooked on sugar, salt, and grease. Let every meal be a huge dopamine hit. Set up routines where fast food solves all of your problems, from boredom to celebration, and order food often. Cooking involves moving, and we're trying to minimize that as much as possible. Also, ignore hunger and fullness, overeat at every meal, and always go back for seconds and thirds. Treat portion sizes as a joke and pile your plate high and finish it no matter what. And never leave food behind, even when you feel sick. Now, make sure you make sleep optional. Sacrifice rest for just one more episode, one more scroll, and one more drink. Ignore the clock, stay up as late as you want, and brag about how little sleep you get. Wear exhaustion like a badge of honor. Complain about being tired, but refuse to go to bed early. Actually, on the opposite spectrum, make sure you are proud of the amount of caffeine you take in a day because you didn't sleep well. Tell yourself you've always been a night owl, so why fight it? And create the worst sleep environment possible. Keep your room bright, noisy, and filled with distractions. Scroll on your phone right up until you pass out and leave dirty clothes, junk food wrappers, and clutter everywhere to guarantee unrest. Also, normalize alcohol, junk food, and nicotine and other self-destructive substances, as many as possible, as part of your daily routine. Blame stress or celebration for every drink, cigarette, or binge, and convince yourself it's just what everyone does. Copy the worst habits of your friends and then do them 10 times more. Use substances as a treat for surviving another miserable day, and let dependency sneak in quietly until you can't imagine a day without your fix. Say you're not addicted, you're just enjoying life, and laugh off any warnings from others and just keep going. Forget about water. Prioritize soda, energy drinks, and coffee, and never drink plain water unless you're absolutely parched, and even then, make sure you look for something else first. Replace hydration with sugar and caffeine and make every beverage an energy spike or a crash. Chase short bursts of energy and then crash hard and repeat. Train your body to crave more sugar, more chemicals, and more stimulation. Ignore any thirst. If you feel a headache or fatigue, assume it's anything but dehydration. Blame your mood, your work, or your luck, and never your habits. Forget that water even exists on most days. Make sure you create a living space that makes it impossible to thrive. Let clutter, dust, and chaos accumulate, and keep junk food within arm's reach and gym equipment buried in the attic, if you even have any. Fill every room with glowing screens and endless noise, and allow your surroundings to drag your mood and motivation lower every day. Keep your environment closed off from any sunlight and fresh air, and shut the curtains, keep the lights dim, and avoid nature. Let air go stale and convince yourself it doesn't really matter, or that it makes you more creative or anything or something like that. Ignore your body's warning signs and push through pain and neglect any recovery, and then act surprised when you break down. Treat pain as weakness and brag about never taking rest days or seeking help, because that's weakness after all. Pop painkillers instead of listening to your body and jump back into activity too soon, making things worse. Refuse to learn proper form or technique for anything physical because you don't want to seem stupid. Skip warm-ups and cool-downs because nobody's got time for that, and never ask for help, never see a professional, and hope it all sorts itself out. Make sure to skip checkups, ignore symptoms, and hope everything works out. Push off appointments until it's urgent, then panic when things get serious, and say you're too busy for the doctor even as you waste hours online. Tell yourself health problems will just go away on their own, and ignore advice and dismiss test results. Assume you know better than any expert, so why listen? You know everything after all, and refuse every suggestion for lifestyle change, no matter how minor. Stay totally unaware of your own body. Don't track symptoms, don't notice patterns, and don't care what happens. Feel like your body is something that just happens to you, not something that you can actually control. Let each new ache or pain feel random, out of your hands, and become numb to fatigue, tension, or discomfort. Normalize misery. Be genuinely shocked when your health collapses, blaming it on bad luck, and never connect your choices to your outcomes with anything, not just your health. Accept feeling lousy as your new baseline. This playbook guarantees weight gain, chronic illness, and a body that just can't keep up, but there's more to lose than just your health. Relationships and connection are next in line for destruction. So let's see how easy it is to push everyone away. Let's talk about relational isolation. Now, if you're trying to guarantee loneliness, disconnection, and a complete lack of intimacy, then there's a playbook for that too. It's made of simple, quiet, little decisions. Micro-neglect, unspoken resentments, ignored messages. Most people don't lose relationships. They rot them from the inside out, slowly, passively, and predictably. Now, if you want to destroy your love life, your friendships, and any shot at emotional connection, just follow these simple, easy steps and let your relationships die quietly while you convince yourself it's not your fault, because it isn't. Always put your needs first, even when it comes at the cost of everyone else. Make your world revolve entirely around you and expect others to orbit. And if they don't, then they don't deserve you. Treat people like vending machines. If they don't give you what you want, get irritated, withdraw, or punish them with silence. Expect others to accommodate you without ever doing the same in return, because you are entitled to their life after all. Now, if someone doesn't behave the way you want, try to manipulate, shame, and guilt trip them until they do, because if they wanted to, they would. That's how the saying goes, right? And never pause to ask how they're feeling or what they need. Relationships aren't about listening or giving. or listening or giving. They're about getting. Let others talk, but don't actually hear them. Instead, think about what you want to say next. Minimize their concerns, wants, or needs, and flip the conversation back to yourself as much as possible. Avoid any hard conversations. Avoid vulnerability. Avoid saying what needs to be said. Hide behind silence until everything falls apart. And don't express love, admiration, or appreciation. That's weakness. Keep your compliments locked up and your affection rare. Let the people you love or like wonder if you actually care and keep them guessing. Make them earn closeness. Play emotionally manipulating games with their feelings that keep both you and them chained and distracted from any other area of your life or their life, and tell yourself showing or expressing emotions is weak or embarrassing, not realizing that it's not about whether you show or express emotions, but about how. Make sure to smile and nod when something bothers you, then hold grudges in secret and let resentment grow. Bonus points if you actually talk behind their back and turn other people against them too. Convince yourself you're just being chill, even though your silence is actually what's killing the connection. And say you'll talk about it later, but never do. Judge everyone by your personal rulebook. Be critical, harsh, and petty, and always find a reason to be disappointed in people. Because people just let you down always, right? Set invisible, uncommunicated standards for how others should behave and punish them when they don't meet them, even if you never actually told them what they were. Make sure to expect flawless behavior and then nitpick the tiniest imperfections. Everyone in your personal life should be compared to perfection except you and the influencers you follow. Never let people change or grow in your eyes. Lock them into a label. Believe that people can't actually change. Constantly compare your friends or partner to other people and tell them how someone else would have done it better. And build a silent case against people in your head. People are your enemies after all. So always feel like you're a little better than everyone else in the room, even if and especially when you secretly admire them. Bonus points if you can find something to criticize them about so you can devalue them in your head. Make sure to let your own lack of self-worth ruin every bond you form. Project your fears onto people until they can't take it anymore. Smother people with neediness. Make them responsible for your emotional state. Panic when someone pulls away even slightly and assume they're abandoning you. Text too much, call too much, overthink everything, and make them feel like they're walking on eggshells. Accuse them, question them, don't trust them ever. Invent stories in your head and treat them like facts and give the cold shoulder until they apologize for something they didn't even do. Make sure to let people in your life feel invisible. Stop showing up, stop checking in, and stop caring. Do the bare minimum. Be present when it's convenient and then disappear when things actually get real. Make sure you keep everything shallow. Never ask any meaningful questions or dig deeper. Let weeks or months go by without contact and call it being busy. Miss birthdays, important events, or anything that matters to them and say you've got a lot going on as if that makes the pain go away. Keep taking them for granted until they finally stop reaching out. Then continue with lying, hiding, withholding, inventing stories. Twist the truth to avoid any accountability and make yourself look good, at least to yourself. Twist any memories and reality if you have to. Protect your ego at all costs because it's fragile and we don't want to hurt it. So never admit when you're wrong. Never admit that the other person might be right. Even if you know they're right, keep it to yourself and never actually communicate it to them because that's weakness. When they call you out, make sure to change the subject or play the victim. Make them question their reality so you don't have to face your own. And keep little secrets until they become big betrayals. Erode trust slowly by making everything just a little bit shady. Create a habit of lying so natural you stop noticing you're actually doing it. And be a different person depending on who you're with. Never let anyone get to know the real you. Keep your mask on at all times. Present the version of yourself you think others want, not who you actually are. After all, remember, you don't actually like who you are. But don't admit that to yourself. Let relationships be built on image, not intimacy, vulnerability, or friendship. And burn out from pretending, then blame the other person for not getting you, even if the reason they're not getting you is that you're constantly hiding or changing who you are. Make sure to stay emotionally unavailable while pretending to be close. Pretend that you're a ride or die or a real one, even though you're none of these things, because remember rule 1, you're the center of the universe. Keep everyone just far enough away so that they can't hurt you, and eventually feel completely alone, even when you're surrounded by people. But blame it on them and that they can't handle your realness. Always make yourself the victim. Every breakup is their fault. Every fallout is what they did to you. Take zero responsibility. Tell yourself the same story over and over. Nobody understands me. Everyone leaves. I'm just too much. They can't handle me. I'm too good for them. Cherry pick evidence from your past to prove it's actually true and make loneliness part of who you are so you never have to risk changing. When something goes wrong, point fingers instantly and remember it's never actually your fault. Never ask how you contributed to the breakdown and refuse to grow or reflect because you're too busy feeling wronged. Make sure to let every past betrayal harden you. Stop trusting, stop opening up. Expect the worst from everyone. Become closed off. Build walls so high no one can actually overcome them, and most importantly, wear that as a badge of honor. Build walls so high nobody can get in, even the people who love you. Tell yourself you're just being careful while you secretly long for closeness. And get used to feeling alone, even when you're in a relationship. Assume bad intentions before asking any questions. Read into texts, overthink everything, overanalyze their tone and body language, and look for signs of betrayal everywhere. Push people away before they can hurt you under the mask that you have high standards. And keep repeating these patterns, and eventually the people you love will stop trying. You'll look around one day and realize there's no one left. You've achieved it. No romance, no deep friendships, no real connection, just you, your screen, your ghosts, and your stories about why it's everyone else's fault. But loneliness isn't the final frontier. There's still your mind to ruin. If you want to stay confused, anxious, and numb forever, then the next part will show you how to make that your reality. So let's talk about mental dullness. So, if you want to stay mentally weak, emotionally scattered, and intellectually dull for the rest of your life, then you need to do one thing above all. Never think for yourself. Never think at all. Never sit with silence. Now, mental decline isn't achieved overnight. It happens gradually, invisibly, through tiny acts of neglect. So, let your brain atrophy. Let your inner world go dim. Let distraction replace depth. This is how you kill your potential without ever feeling the blow. You don't need trauma to end up done, just daily avoidance of real thought. So the first step is to keep your mind busy with noise. Never let silence creep in. Fill every moment with stimulation so you never have to actually sit with your thoughts. Wake up and reach for your phone, fall asleep to the glow of your streaming service of choice, and let algorithms, politicians, news, media, and influencers decide what to think and when to think. Trust your explore page more than your own curiosity, and condition your attention span to reset every 15 seconds by watching short-form content all day. Leave videos, music, or TV playing in the background at all times and kill any quietness. Silence creates thoughts, and we don't want that here. Tell yourself it helps you focus, even if you know it doesn't, and start feeling anxious when it's too quiet, because if you can't kill the silence with noise, then make sure you have other vices to keep you occupied. Overconsume and underprocess. Keep hoarding information, but never actually digesting any of it. Listen to everything and understand absolutely nothing. Buy books, read a few pages, apply nothing. Use reading as a way to feel smart instead of actually getting smart. So, skim titles, scan blurbs, highlight quotes, never integrate the lessons. Make your bookshelf an altar to potential you'll never fulfill. When it comes to podcasts, play them on 2x speed while doing 3 other things. Let wisdom go in one ear and out of the other. Tell yourself it's productive while drowning in content you'll never remember. And never stop to reflect. Just hit next. Better yet, the best advice here is to not have a bookshelf or any books at all. Don't listen to podcasts, or don't ever listen or watch any self-development content in general. They're all a scam anyway. You don't need them. Just put on the next trending show, the one all your friends are watching. You don't really like it, but they told you it's the best, so just pretend. You're definitely getting the biggest bang for your buck there. Make sure to avoid any deep thought. Distract yourself when big questions arise and dull your awareness with constant consumption. Never journal, never ask yourself what you actually want, just keep reacting. Move fast so you never feel what's beneath the surface. Stay mentally foggy and call it being chill. Outsource your opinions to influencers, Reddit, and memes, and let others think for you and call it staying informed. Absorb the loudest voice in the room, not the truest, and let curiosity die slowly. Ask fewer questions as you age. Shrink your wonder down to nothing. Stop exploring new topics unless they go viral and only learn what the algorithm tells you is cool. Repeat the same conversations, same jokes, same content loops forever. And roll your eyes at any new ideas. Assume you already know how the world works. You already know everything. Assume you know everything. And don't ever think you could or should change your opinion, even if your current one is holding you back or making no sense at all. You're always right. Dismiss anything unfamiliar, complex, or contradictory to your own beliefs and opinions as beneath you. Deep down, you're actually just afraid of being wrong. It's too much for your ego, and again, we're trying to protect that. Now, build your identity out of rigid beliefs that you never question, that are not even yours. Make your worldview a cage and never open the door. Cling to what you know so you never have to feel the discomfort of learning, questioning, and thinking. It expends too much energy, and we don't want that. Treat every disagreement like an attack, not an invitation for a discussion. If someone has a different opinion, regardless of how much sense it makes, it is wrong. Filter every new idea through a lens of fear or ideology, and only follow voices that actually agree with you and confirm your own beliefs. Stay in the echo chamber. Confuse groupthink with truth and sacrifice independent thought for social belonging. Make sure you let your vocabulary shrink and stop expressing yourself. Keep your inner world vague and blurry. If someone speaks or writes clearer than you, they must be a nerd or they must have not written it themselves. Speak in cliches, buzzwords, and viral brain rot catchphrases, and remember, it makes you super cool. Repeat what everyone else is saying instead of forming your own ideas, and let your thinking get sloppy because your words are lazy. If someone uses words you don't understand, don't look them up in the dictionary. Just make sure you blame them for using big words to sound smart. Make sure you avoid any writing or articulating and let thoughts stay foggy because it's easier than clarity. No need to put an effort into communication or expressing yourself when you don't know how, right? So fear sounding stupid and saying nothing. Eventually, just forget how to even explain what you feel. Just open up Instagram and keep scrolling. Reject growth. Stay who you were 5 years ago and call it authenticity. Anyone that is growing in any way is stuck up and cheating somehow. You don't know how, but somehow they are. Rest hopeful in the belief that you will catch them one day. Make sure to choose ease over evolution and keep doing the same things even when they no longer serve you. This is how you've always done it. No need to change. Avoid anything and anyone that actually forces you to stretch. And say that that's just how I am when someone challenges your behavior. Turn feedback into personal offense or an insult and stay still and pretend it's intentional. You're just taking time to figure things out. Tell yourself you're trying to find your passion, even though you know that finding your passion actually requires taking some kind of action. But please, don't pay attention to the catch-22 you created. Remind yourself you're perfect the way you are, even if you know that the phrase doesn't mean that, and you're just using it as an excuse. Make sure you let your memory collapse. Over-rely on apps, reminders, and screens to hold what your brain used to carry. Forget names, ideas, and insights because you never bothered to store them. Let every detail slip through your mental fingers. Assume it doesn't matter because you'll Google it later, even if it never comes. And never challenge your recall or train your mind in any way. Let your brain get lazy. Let skills fade until they're gone completely and stay numb or reactive. Never learn to sit with, name, or regulate your emotions in any way. Let them control you or disappear entirely. Bottle everything up. Never feel what you're feeling. Just eat, scroll, drink, or work instead. Run from pain by avoiding presence and numb so hard you forget what joy even feels like. When it builds too long, lash out or break down, and feel embarrassed afterward, but never actually learn. Repeat until your emotions actually feel like enemies. Most importantly, and this is the most important point, guys, most importantly, while you sabotage your own life, make absolutely sure to criticize, ridicule, insult, mock, laugh at, hate, and tear down anyone who actually dares to try. Ridicule people who are building, improving, or even just showing up. Laugh at their effort. Call their goals cringe. Frame their discipline as delusion, because if you can't rise, at least drag others down to your level. Misery loves company, and that's the final form of misery. Hating anyone who reminds you that you had a choice. Now, follow this formula and you'll lose your edge. Your brain will turn to mush. You'll feel perpetually scattered, confused, anxious, or just vaguely bored. You won't know what's missing, but something always will be. And if you keep at it long enough, one day you'll look in the mirror and realize you don't even recognize yourself anymore. But hey, you made it. You're broke, unhealthy, lonely, and dumb. Now, with that being said, let's talk about the inversion. Look, most people live their entire lives chasing goals, never really realizing that one of the fastest ways to get what you want is really to look at the problem upside down. That's the art of inversion, and it's the mental model this whole training was built on. By learning how to stay broke, unhealthy, lonely, and dumb, you see all the invisible traps and self-sabotage in high definition so you can actually flip the script and do the opposite. So if you don't want a life like the one I described so far, just do the opposite and as best as you can. Inversion is a total paradigm shift. You expose all the hidden weaknesses and destructive habits that most people let slip through the cracks. And instead of stumbling blindly through trial and error, you shine a spotlight on every dark corner. This lets you see every pitfall for what it is, so you can actually avoid it. Imagine looking at life as one giant don't-do list. When you know exactly what not to do, you can get laser focused on what actually works. Instead of trying to add more good habits, you cut out the bad, the mediocre, and the soul-destroying. Suddenly, what remains is only what really matters. And now you know exactly what keeps people stuck, so you never have to be one of them. This isn't just a list of warnings, it's a mirror held up to the numerous self-defeating patterns that keep you from leveling up. And if you see yourself in any of these examples, you now have the ultimate playbook for doing the exact opposite. Every trap exposed here is really a sign pointing you toward the path that actually works. The biggest advantage of using inversion is ruthless self-awareness. You cut through all filler and stare reality in the face. Treat this like an anti-blueprint for your future. If you do dare to do this and to do the opposite, there's nothing really stopping you from building the life most people only dream about. The more honestly you can spot yourself in these scripts, the faster you can escape, and that's how you make inversion your secret weapon. Now, look, some of these lessons probably stung a little bit. Others probably made you laugh at how universal they are. Nobody's immune to these mistakes, and the ones who claim otherwise are usually stuck the most. The point wasn't to judge anyone. It's to expose the lies, the lazy shortcuts, and the little self-betrayals that guarantee a lifetime of mediocrity if left unchecked. And this training is honestly as much for you as it is for me. The scariest part is that it's shockingly easy to follow the path to ruin. It doesn't take any effort at all. In fact, most people just drift into it by accident, step by step, without ever noticing until the price is due. That's why seeing the anti-formula in black and white is so powerful. Once you see it, you can never unsee it. What you do after reading this is really up to you. You can treat it like it means nothing and keep playing small, or you can treat it like a wake-up call. With that being said, let's go over what we talked about. We talked about financial ruin, physical decline, relational isolation, mental dullness, inversion, the review, and your action items for the day or the next few days. First, review each section of this training, but this time do the exact opposite of every bullet. Every destructive habit contains within it the exact blueprint for growth, strength, and transformation when flipped. And make sure to sit down with a blank page and brutally assess where you're following the script in your own life, and circle every pattern that feels a little too familiar and write out the opposite behavior. That should be your new code. Then finally, choose one pillar, health, wealth, love, or self, and take 3 toxic behaviors and try to consciously invert them every single day. Now, if you want to work with me, make sure to book a call from the second link in the description. If you want access to this document, make sure to join the free community from the first link in the description. If you enjoyed this video, please let me know in the comments below, give it a like, subscribe for more, and I'll see you in the next one. Once again, thank you for being here.